All right, we are back. Where did we leave off? We left off where I ripped this piece off and I talked to you all about making sure that you leave enough space so you can tuck this in. So there's my ode to ripping things up. What I did during the upload of the previous video was to cut my mats down. So notice we didn't glue this back piece on because we have to mat it. So for this back mat, your measurement's going to be for the inside, for both the inside and the back side, okay? So this measurement's going to be 8 3/8 of an inch by 6 1/4. All right, and for this too, I am using score tape, and I picked this really pretty vertical striped paper. It has some candy cane and holly leaf motif on it. Love that. I love vertical stripes or stripes in general, except on myself, so I rather keep those to a minimum. But on paper, love, love, love the stripes, either or, vertical or horizontal. So quick score tape action here on all 4 sides, a little bit in the center just to keep that down. Again, using the score tape because I can get a really good stick on the very edge of my paper, so my paper will not come up during the, while someone is looking at it or with use. So I want to definitely keep that nice intact, especially because it's for a gift. So you don't want to ever give a crappy gift. So we're going to go ahead and center this from side to side, and right at the top, right at that first fold, you want to position it and stick it down. Okay. The reason why I glue this all the way down to the bottom, oh darn it, I got that on crooked. Not good. Okay, well, it's a little crooked, but I will live. I will live. The reason why I brought it all the way down to the bottom is because you're going to see a tiny, tiny bit on either side. So I didn't want to cut it all the way up here and then have all of this paper, all of this cardstock exposed. So that's why I did it all the way to the bottom. But now what you're going to do is you're going to stick this piece down, and you can go ahead and apply adhesive all the way on this 1/2 inch piece right here, okay? So knock yourself out now with the adhesive. This is what I did on the front side as opposed to leaving that gap. This side, it's okay to bring it up all the way to that fold, okay? So you got about a 1/2 inch of space to work with for your adhesive. And again, I'm using hot glue, and I'm making sure that's nice and centered, and I'm going to stick it down. Just hold it down firmly until that glue dries. And of course, it's going to dry relatively quickly because it's hot glue. That's one of the pluses to that. Okay, so hold that down, hold it down until it sticks, and then you're done. So we got a good stick on that already. We want to go ahead and burnish it on the back side. We can with our hands or with our bone folder, would work nicely as well. Okay, and that's it. So we have the inside matted. Now that goes to the back, and you get your beautiful fanning out pages. Let's go ahead and mat this top side. Again, same paper and using the score tape for the adhesion on this. So all 4 sides on the score tape and just a little bit in the center. Okay, I'm super excited to use that Pinecone die again. It's absolutely stunning. It's so fantastic that I'm not a big die user. I don't get them all because I have a Cricut, and there's pretty much every motif on a Cricut. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that on the Art Philosophy cartridge there is a similar cut that would look like the Pinecone, I think, and I will double check and confirm that with you all. But I encourage you to go ahead and get that Pinecone die if you can, because it is spectacular. All right, so let's remove the tape backing on this, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this down to the inside of my back cover. Okay, and that goes like this. There's really no direction on this paper for the exception of the vertical stripe, so you want to continue on that. Center it from top to bottom and side to side, and this one I actually did a good job on. So I'm very happy about that. I'm going to go with a dark paper for this inside piece right here. And let's see, what do I have here? This is for my back cover, which I hate to use those pretty, you know what? I'm going to use the birdies on the back, which look really, really sweet. I like that. So let me get that back cover on before I decide what strips of paper I'm going to use for these little pieces right here. Same deal on the back cover with the score tape, guys. All 4 sides and a couple of strips in the center. Just make sure you get that all the way to the edge. You don't want that paper curling up or ripping. Okay, you definitely don't want that. I can't wait to see what designs you all come up with, because I mean, this is what I love about this hobby, just to see what everybody does. Can't wait to see your paperback matchbook. Super, super fun. And yes, I said a couple of strips in the middle, but I went a little bit overboard, as always, with the tape. I love to put tape all over the place. So let's get rid of that tape backing. And if you all have noticed the time, the first video was 42 minutes. So far, under an hour, we've got a little mini put together. All right, and the matting on the inside is super easy, so it's going to be no time at all. I think you can put this project together from start to finish in 2 hours, or even under 2 hours, I would venture to say. So look at how pretty that is on the front and on the back. I hardly ever do the same pattern on the front and the back. I think it looks nice to go ahead and switch that up on occasion. I love the way that looks. I think that I'm going to go with the burgundy in this case for the inside, for the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my 1/2 inch strip, well, a little bit less than half, which is 3/8 of an inch. Okay, which is that tick mark right under the 1/2 inch mark. Nice and straight on those strips. So I need 2 for the top and the bottom. And then for the inside, I'd like to go with some green, if I could, because there's green on that paper, but I want a light green, not a dark green. So I'll have to think about that one. I may have to find the perfect paper for that. So for some reason my paper is a little wider. I probably didn't cut it right at the 3/8 of an inch mark. Let's see. Let's check that measurement again. Well, this is going to be a pain. Now, so there's a 1/2 inch mark. Oh yeah, I cut it wrong. Okay. Yes, I cut it wrong. Of course. See if I can get that. So 1/2 inch, guys. Not 3/8 of an inch. I apologize. 1/2 inch should be perfect. And getting that down to 3/8 of an inch. I mean to 1/2 inch. Before in the first video I couldn't say 3/8 of an inch. Now I can't say 1/2 inch. Alright, so I'm going to do some wet glue on this. And that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to open this up so I can get a nice fit. And I'm going to get some wet glue on this. And I'll put it right in the center, and then I'm going to spread it out with my finger. Okay? So get a nice bead of glue right there in the center, and then spread it around with your finger so you can get a nice edge-to-edge coverage on there. And I had a napkin, so here is my napkin. Wipe that glue off on your napkin. Alright? And then stick it down nicely in place. You get a nice finished piece there. Wet glue for this instead of the dry tape. If you can get it perfectly on the edge and all over the place, knock yourself out, guys. But I like the wet glue for this application right here. So we have tons of different glues, and they all serve a purpose, right? So we might as well use them. I know I have several different glues and they all have their own little function in my little crafting world. So do a little burnishing action until that dries so you get no lumpy bumpies. Beautiful. Beautiful finish on there. Okay. And actually, I cut my piece a little big, so I'm going to let that dry and trim it off. No harm done. I'm just going to let it dry. And then I will trim it. I can't trim it now. I thought my measurement was right on the first time. I thought so. I thought I was right, but I guess not. I guess, I don't know what I was doing with my cutting. So here's my 1/2 inch mark. I'm having a problem with this cutting. No, that's my 1/4 inch mark. This is my 1/2 inch mark. Okay. All right. So it is, let me measure this. Why am I having so much trouble? Yeah, so this is a 1/2 inch. All right. So we're going to go 1 tick mark under the 1/2 inch mark, okay? So that is 3/8 of an inch, right? Or am I losing my marbles? Yes, 3/8 of an inch. That was the first measurement I gave you, and that is correct. So it's a little bigger than a 1/4 inch, a little smaller than a 1/2 inch. So I don't know what my beef is. So I will just trim that part on the top side and then get it right. I don't know. All right, so did we get that right? 3/8 of an inch on this strip, not a 1/2 inch. So it's a little smaller than a 1/2 inch. I thought I had it right the first time. I shall not doubt myself. Okay, here we go. Now over here, put that strip down there. Robbie is home. So we have to, he's not feeling well. I just heard him come in. So he's not feeling well. Hi, baby. I'm recording, okay? So get that down there with the wet glue. Put some pressure down there. Do a little burnishing action. Nice and soft, because when it's wet glue, you can tear your paper, okay? So nice and soft on that with the burnishing action. And there we go. That's it. So I have to wait till my paper is completely dry in order to trim that, because I will tear my paper. Okay, so I'm going to wait and be patient. All I have is a little bit of overhang. Can you see the overhang there? So that's what I'm working on to trim down. But I have to wait till my paper is completely dry. Otherwise, I will screw that up and tear the paper. So I'm going to be patient. Now, we've covered the inside. We've done the back side. You can go ahead at this point and mat your pages, which will probably take you 30 minutes max. Okay? The two 12 by 12 sheets of paper are for photo mats. So all you have to do is cut them at 6 by 6. Okay? 6 by 6. And you are done with your photo mats. You can go ahead and mat them at this point if you like to. And that's it. And these go inserted into your bags. Look how perfectly they fit, 6 by 6. All right, you can put your little tabs. If you'd like to put your tabs, go right ahead. Okay, but they fit perfectly in there. So just showing you that. You can also put a photo mat in between if you'd like to do that as well. So 6 by 6 on the photo mats. And still waiting for that to dry, but we're going to put this to the side now and work on our belly band because I want to give it ample time to dry. Okay, so for your belly band, you're going to take one sheet of 8.5 by 11 and you are going to trim that down to 2.5 inches. Okay, so 2.5 by 11 and 2.5 by 11. Okay. Now what you're going to do is get your paper trimmer out and you will score on the long side at 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, 1/2 inch, so that's at 2 inches and at 1/2 inch. Okay, so you're going to be left with a 1.5 inch belly band. Okay, so 1/2 inch on both sides. Then you're going to join these two pieces of paper together with some score tape. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm only going to put the score tape on one side. Let me find my, here we go. So one side only. I'm going to put 2 strips because I want at least about a 1/2 inch overlap. Okay, about a 1/2 inch overlap. Make sure you get a good stick on that. Burnish that. Pull your tape backing off and go ahead and line that up and join these two pieces of paper together. Nice and straight. I say nice and straight, but I never get it straight. So as straight as possible. How's that? Now you're going to fold on your score marks. Okay, you're going to get one long strip of paper. Fold on your score marks, just like so. Now you're going to go ahead and put some more score tape on. On each of the sections where you scored, those 1/2 inch flaps, avoid the score mark, okay? So up and down, both sides, just like so. And now you're going to remove the tape backing, okay? Long strip, get rid of that. Long strip, get rid of that. All right, and you're going to go ahead and fold over. Okay, fold it over and burnish. You want to make sure you get a very good stick, especially in that joint or that seam. So burnish, burnish. Same deal over here, and that also gives you beautiful crease marks. All right, so that's just lovely. Now we're going to put this piece right back in our paper trimmer. I mean, not our paper trimmer. No trimming. In our, what do you call this thing? In our scoring board. And you're going to score. You're going to score on your left-hand side. You're going to score at 2 3/4 inches. Okay. 2 3/4 inches. Alrighty. 2 3/4 inches. Oh, wait a minute. You see your seam right here? Your seam, you're going to put it on the 6-inch mark. Your seam on the 6-inch mark. Then you're going to work your way over to the 2 3/4 inch mark. Okay? Then you're going to hold it still, the seam at the 6-inch mark, and you're going to score at 9 1/4. Okay? Whoa, not too hard. Darn it, I ripped right through that. All right, so those are your first 2 marks. Then you're going to go over to 9 1/2. Work your way back over here, and you're going to score at 2 1/4. Okay? So you're going to be left with 2 score marks here and 2 score marks here. Okay? So again, put your seam at the 6-inch mark. On your left-hand side, you're going to score at 2 3/4 and then at 2 1/4. On the right-hand side of the center point, you're going to score at 9 1/4 and 9 1/2. Okay? So now you're going to fold on those score marks. Okay? Fold on those score marks. And there's your fantastic little belly band. Okay? One side will fold over perfectly into the other. The other side will have some excess. Just take your scissor and cut off the excess. I'm cutting off about 1.5 inches. Okay, so you want about that much. All right, no right or wrong way. It's up to you. You can even cut halfway if you want. Okay, but you want this other piece in there because that's going to give your belly band lots of stability for the element that you're going to glue on the top of it. So if you put it over your piece, it will fit perfectly. If you think that you need more space, all you have to do is leave yourself, instead of a 1/2 inch here, just move it over and leave yourself about 3/4 inch. That's up to you, or just add on another 1/8 inch. I don't need any more space. This is giving me lots of room right here for growth, so it's up to you guys, okay? But your belly band should fit perfectly on there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to glue it together. You can glue it together, or you can wait till you decorate it, whatever you like. But I glue it together. I don't have a problem decorating it. So I'm gluing on the short side. I'm doing some hot glue action on the short side. You can do tape if you want. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue it together. Alrighty. Nice and straight. And there you have it. There is your belly band with beautiful folded edges. Okay, nice and finished. It's very sturdy. You don't have just a cheapo belly band on there. So you get the nice folded edges. If you want, you can cover the inside with pattern paper. That's up to you. I do not think it's necessary, but you know, we all have our own preferences in paper crafting. So there's your belly band, and it fits perfectly over your project. Now you want to cover it with pattern paper. I want to still use the burgundy paper. So I'm going to trim, this is a 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, so I'm going to trim it down to 1.25 inches. Okay. Still not distressing because I'm going to do some rub and buff action. So that's going to go there. And I am going to use score tape for this. Let me get my scoring board out of the way. I'm done with the scoring. No more scoring. So I'm going to use some score tape for this. Woo, lots of score tape all over the place. Here we go. So some more score tape. You can do the same thing to the back side. You're going to cover it up if you want. You don't have to. You can rub and buff the whole thing if you want. Okay? And rub and buff, I'll show you what that is right now or in a few minutes when I'm done with this part right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish that up. Hopefully my top part is almost done and I can cut that excess off. Okay, so that goes there. Now let's use the fantastic little Pinecone die. This is the one I've been raving about, which is my absolute most favorite find right now. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you cut them off, or when you run them through the die. Okay, I found that if you take a 6x6 sheet of paper, or a sheet of paper, and you make 3x3 inch squares, okay, 3-inch squares. I did green and brown at the same time. I cut three 3x3 inch squares in brown, and then I cut 6 3x3 in the green. Okay, and all I did was put them on the die respectively. The browns went on here and the greens went on here. I ran them through my Vagabond at the same time, and they all cut perfectly fine. I don't know if that will work for you all, but it worked for me beautifully, and I will show you the negative space. Okay, so all I did was, here's the negative space. So here's my 3-inch squares, and here are my brown ones. So I placed these on the die. All right, so I did 3 here and 3 here on the die, and it cut beautifully. One-shot deal, done. All right, it worked for me, so I don't know if that will work for you, so don't call me don't tell me that it didn't work for you complaining. But for me, it worked. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make my pine cone. So I have, or had, somewhere around here. Did I lose my tool? Can't be. I have a little quilling tool. Let's see if I can find it with you all here. Here it is. Yay! I have this nifty little quilling tool, and I just went ahead and just twisted or bended my little points back just a little bit, just to give it some contouring. Okay, just a tiny bit. There's not too much prep time to this. I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, super duper easy. You definitely want to use your hot glue gun for this. If you do not have one, wet glue will be fine, but you're going to have to hold it a long time until it dries. It's not just one glue step. It doesn't work with just one glue stepping. All right, now you're going to want to you twisted these back, so now you're going to want to fold that in. So you got to decide which is going to be your inside and your outside, okay? You can go ahead and distress this piece like I'm going to do right now. So let me change my distressing color. I want my brown, my vintage photo. So I'm going to give it a nice distressing on the ends, nice and dark, because I want some contrast, okay? So see that nice and dark there? Giving myself some really nice contrast for my pine cone. All right, these look so fantastic that, I mean, Tim Holtz has got it right on this die. All right, I like all the other ones, but I must say this is my fave, one that I had to get and I couldn't pass up on. So spectacular. Great, great design. Okay. So similar to the flower wrapping, you know, no science here, but it's a pine cone. So I'm going to do this to all three, okay? And I'm going to fold it this way. This part will be my outside, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and bend these little sides back, and I'm going to do 3, okay, with you all right here, right now, so you can see how easy this die is to work with, because it is super duper easy. And over here, beautiful. Okay, now let's, and all I am doing is bending the little tips. You'll see that this little petal motif here has a little tip. So I'm just twisting that or bending it or folding it back, whatever you want to call it, okay? I encourage you to distress the edges because, again, you want some contrast. All right, you can use a white gel pen or some white rub and buff if you have it to make them look like they're snowy. Or you can use, see, this is a different color brown. So I got two different color browns going on here. All right, or you can use, what did I say, white rub and buff to give it a nice snowy effect, or whatever white, you know, ink or whatever you have in your stash. Or you can use the Go Rub and Buff like I did on the original one to give it a nice gold shimmer or edges, you know, on that more traditional Christmas style. I would say that this Matchbook mini that I'm making is more traditional in style. Okay, so a little more distressing action over here. And then we're ready to assemble. So make sure those hot glue guns are nice and hot. Okay, you definitely got to have that nice and hot. Otherwise, you're not going to get a pretty pine cone. So I will say that I didn't get it right the first time. No, I got it right the first time. The second time, I didn't get it right. So I think I just had to unravel it. You know, nothing went to waste. So this is going to be on the outside. So we're going to put wrong side up. And you don't need a quilling tool, but I think you should have one, okay? If you don't have a quilling tool, you can get a toothpick, and that's what it shows you on the die. It shows a toothpick, but I have a quilling tool handy. So now you're going to roll, all right? You're not going to do tight rolls. It's going to want to roll where the petal starts and ends. So just let it do its thing, okay? You don't want to roll it. You may want to shape it a little bit round if you want. But don't roll it tight, okay? And see, my quilling tool, I'm done with it. It's just to start, okay? And then you're going to roll, 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 roll all the way around. And your first gluing point will be right here. You don't even have to shape it too much or anything. You want to loosen it a little bit to get your desired size, okay? Because if you do it tighter, you'll get a nice small pine cone. If you do it a little looser like I did, you get a nicer, tighter pine cone. Be careful, you will get burned. I need my hot glue gun helpers in this case. Now, you are going to want to get some tweezers if you have them, and I don't have mine handy, so I'm going to use my quilling tool here. Hopefully that'll work. But you let that hot glue dry, and in the meantime, tweezers are definitely your best option. And I know they should be somewhere around here. Maybe they're right here. Hang on. But you can see that forming already. Yep, here are my tweezers. Okay. I have this fabulous little Mcgill tool right here that comes with some tweezers. So let it dry. The center is not stuck in there, okay? You don't want to push that center in too much, okay? So you want to pull out the layers because you're not going to get it all glued at one time. So you want to pull out the layers and then get some glue in there, okay? And then stick those layers back in there. And you'll see that it'll form for you, I promise. Okay, so get those layers back in there, pull them out, let it dry, and then done. And if you want, you can just mold these a tiny bit more if you want, because I think I folded mine the wrong way. So I think when I made my little bends, I did them the wrong way. But that's it. That's all there is to it. Look at how easy this came together. And I don't know if this is the right way, but this is the way that it works for me. It will not glue on the first one. You have to kind of pull it out, because if it does, that means you're pulling the pine cone in all the way, and that's not the way a pine cone really looks. It's kind of elongated like this right here, as you can see. And look at how fantastic that little pine cone looks. It's just adorable. Let's do this again. So in actuality, you have to bend these up. Okay, so you're gonna, if this is the side you want exposed, yeah, you got to bend them in toward you, okay? If that's the side you want exposed. Or if not, you can do it at the end, okay? So you want to do right side, wrong side up, and you can bend down. How's that? Wrong side up, and then bend down. And then you do your inking on the right side, okay? So you ink on the right side, the side you want exposed, and then wrong side up, and you kind of bend your petals downward. So that's what I did. I was trying to figure out what I did the first time. All right, so that should help you all. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody too much. Okay, so now wrong side up, and that's how you're gonna twist. Okay, so wrong side up, and you're gonna twist. Start at the very end and do your little twist in action over here, and just let it do its thing. All right, you can kind of bend it so it can curve again. You don't have to use it all the way around. I did it with my fingers the first time around. So if it comes out, don't worry. If it comes out, no biggie. You can use your fingers, and then there it is. And usually when it stays in, you get a nicer formation on your pine cone. So I'm just going to hold it nice and tight because I don't want this one to unravel too much. Get my hot glue there and stick it down. Hopefully I won't get burned. Where are my hot glue helpers when I need them? I'm sure they're right there on the side. I just don't want to let this puppy go. So you want to kind of form it and make it look like a pine cone. This one came out so much better, I have to say. So for that inside piece, if you want to pull it out a little bit, and you want to get some hot glue in there. Okay, so I'm going to pull mine out just a tad, and I got this little nozzle there, so I'm just going to squeeze some hot glue in there and call it good. Call it good because I'm done. Look at that. How spectacular is that? So I got two little pine cones. So you see there's really no science to them. It's so easy. So easy. And you don't have to get them perfect because nature's not perfect, right? So beautiful, 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 beautiful. So it makes nature so beautiful, all the imperfections. All right, so what did I do? I inked on the right side. Now I'm bending my petals down, wrong side up, okay? So wrong side, now I'm going to bend my petals down for this third one. And that should work better than what I did the first time. I did it wrong side. All right. All right, beautiful. So now let's get that end. Let's stick it in the little twirling tool here. And again, this is a quilling tool, and you're going to want to bend it, twirl all the way around, okay? This is a lighter cardstock, so I'm working with 2 different color cardstocks here, or perhaps 3, I'm not even sure. So it goes much easier when it stays in the quilling tool, but it doesn't have to stay that way. In case yours falls out, don't freak out and think that it's not good. Okay, so stick that down. And I'm going to pull my quilling tool out just a little bit because I want more dimensionality on mine. I want it kind of elongated, not looking like a rose, because that's not what it is, right? So there we go. Notice I did this one a little tighter. Gosh, third time is a charm. That one, I would say, is spectacular. So I'm going to pull this out again, just a teeny tiny bit. And I'm going to get my glue nozzle in there and glue it down. Okay? That just looks wonderful. Love that. All right, so let it glue. Let it stick in place. We got our 3 pine cones, which I love. So I got a kind of like a chubby one, a medium one, and a skinny one. So I got 3 little pine cones there. So hopefully you can see those. Let's see, right there. Giving you a good shot of those. Now for the leaves. I did my leaves in 2 colors. Okay, and you can definitely distress these up. And I'm going to pull mine apart. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little distressing action on my leaves. Then I'm going to do a little rub and buff action. Whoa. And I'll take you through the rub and buff process in just a few minutes. So just a little distressing for some contrast. Okay. And I used 6 leaves on mine. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to get 5 and 6 right here ready. Okay. Also right here. Okay, so those look great. So on the 2 long ones that I'm going to glue down first, okay, and I'm putting these on this side right here, that I glued down first, I left those full length. On the second ones, I pulled off just the very bottom. Okay, on the second layer, just the very bottom. And on the third layer, I just pulled off the smaller piece on top. Okay, so you have 3 sections to work with. All right, 3 sizes to work with. So for the rub and buff, I learned a little fantastic little tip from my friend Betty that she learned from somebody on the internet. And I don't know who, so forgive me for not knowing who this person is, but this individual used her tool for rub and buff. And I need a piece of scrap paper because I think I put too much. So let me get a piece of scrap paper and let me get some of that off. All right. And so you don't get rub and buff too much on your fingers because it dries my hands something awful. You could use a sponge for the rub and buff action. All right. And you just want to get a little gold on there. And rub and buff is this thing right here. It's a wax medium and I'm using it in gold. And I found this at Michael's in the art section. I have to give a shout out to my friend, Journal Artista, because she's the one who got me hooked to rub and buff. And now I have it in every single color. And I use it wherever possible. So now you can do your pine cones, give it a little gold hue to them, and you can pick up that color off your scrap paper too. You don't want to get too much color on there. Okay, so these come in all different colors. I have about 17 different colors, and what I love about this gold and the craft paper is that you can make your craft paper look like gold with this stuff. Okay, so you don't have to run out and get gold paper. All right, so here are my 3 pine cone, large, medium, and small leaves right here. So I'm going to go to town gluing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right here, and I'm just going to glue those down on either side. Okay, then I'm going to do the medium ones and just kind of, you know, stagger them a little bit. Just a tiny bit, just like so. And then I'm going to do the small ones just to give it some fullness. Okay, just some fullness. And then you're going to glue your pine cones down and they're going to look fabulous. I did 2 facing down, okay, and then 1 facing up. The one that's facing up was the skinnier one. So now at this point you're going to want to hold it down and make sure you get a good stick. Okay, I like to blow on that. Ignore the hot glue cobwebs. You will pull those off when everything is nice and dry, you want to find the best side to this one. And I think this side is the best side. So I'm going to glue this part down. And that's it. And you're done. Look at how fantastic this design, all paper. All right, let's, forgot that I have to glue that down. All paper. Okay, let me just get a good stick on that. I don't want it to move. Definitely you have to have the expense for the die, but that's it. It's something that you will always have, and pine cones never go out of style. You will always use it year after year, okay? Year after year. I'd love to see what other uses you all come up with, but look how fabulous. You could put a little tag there. Let me show you the rub and buff action on the edge of the book, how spectacular that's going to look. Okay, how it completely changes the look of that craft paper. It just gives you a beautiful regal finish. It looks spectacular. So this is why I did no distressing on this piece right here. No distressing, because I'm doing this. And I don't have to use my hands, which I love, because it gets my fingers so dry, and I don't like that. So give that some little rub and buff action over there. And this piece, look at how beautiful this is going to look in the gold. And you just keep on applying it to your applicator, and you're done. And you get more control, I think. Oh, I got to cut that top portion off. So look at that, how beautiful. If you use a punch, you definitely want to glue those edges down, because they're going to come up with the use of your belly band. So be careful, guys, okay? Let me see if I can cut this off with you all here without ruining this project, because I love it. I'm doing a very good job. Don't breathe, people. Don't breathe. Okay. Beautiful. Yay! See, I had that much excess, so it's definitely 3/8 of an inch, guys. Definitely 3/8 of an inch. And now let's get that top portion done. And it looks like you've got some gold paper under this project. You can even open it up if you want and get both those sides at one time. Look at that, how beautiful. Hopefully you're getting that gold. See that? Beautiful. And on the back side, I may need some more, but you're pretty much done. Get your tags done and fold that up, put that in there. Let's get some gold rub and buff on our belly band. And we are almost done with this one. How fun. How fun was this project? Love it. So far from start to finish, 2 videos of about, uh-oh, somebody's at my door because the dogs are going wild. But I think Robbie can get that. Uh-oh. Hopefully it's a package. Hopefully it's a mailman. And over here, love that. Do a little more on the pine cones if you wish. And you're done. Yep, somebody's at the door, guys. So let me finish up this video here with you all. But that's it, my friends. This is your Matchbook paper bag album, and I hope you all enjoy this and you love the way that it turned out. If you have any questions, just leave them right down below. This is Kathy with Paper Phenomenon, and until next time, bye-bye.